Deus Ex Human Revolution centers around the use of mechanical augmentations and how this technology has spread through the world and how it is affecting the world.
You need to find a way to bring the players into an invented world that feels kind of interesting and a bit different.
Making it sure that it's grounded in the current reality. We didn't want to be a sci-fi universe. We wanted to be built upon anticipation of our current world of today.
It's very urban and it's almost contemporary.
It's all about putting you right in the middle of this world and you can figure out things, what's going on.
This augmentation debate is bringing all the crazies out.
Back again to Detroit, where a handful of people were taken into custody this evening following yet another anti-augmentation demonstration.
In 2027, augmentations are a great source of contention. They're, on one hand, for the people who need them, they're really helping these people to regain their lives and to take their lives even farther than they'd ever thought possible.
On the other end, some people want to take advantage of all those possibilities in a certain way. They want to control the people.
Is everything in place?
Almost.
In the game, you have two corporations, Seraph Industries and Tai Young Medical. They are both competing for the same marketplace. They're looking to gain control over the mechanical augmentation market. Seraph Industries is the American company that is founded by David Seraph, the man who is very visionary. He believes very much that augmentations are the future of mankind.
On the other side of the ocean in Asia, you have a Tai Young Medical, and that corporation is trying to swallow all the other competitors.
The game isn't just about shooting and running around. There's also a lot of hacking abilities that Adam can get. Reading emails, reading files that have been left behind, because there is that whole element of who do I trust and how do I get to the real truth that's underneath this.
Intel on these purists. How much you got?
We're running background on them now.
There's a lot of exploration that can be done. There's a lot of talking with other characters, a lot of delving into the mystery behind it, being a real detective. And you can continue on in your adventure and really just uncover what the world itself is like.
We knew that in Human Revolution we wanted to have a conspiracy that would go all over the world, so we will have the player traveling a lot.
We always talk about trying to build a game that is very immersive, that creates a world that you feel like you're a part of it. And the city hubs provide a lot of exploration possibilities. There's apartments to get into, there's emails to read.
It's all about multi-path, multi-solution. Everything that we were to build had to have different paths to get there.
It's kind of like you're free to explore and they're humongous. And they have their own visual flavor, their own populace. Like we spent a lot of energy on designing the fashion and the clothing design.
So you have a variety of characters in there who will give you bits of information here and there about the world, the city, the characters, and some of them will offer you side quests.
I need someone to break into his apartment, sneak into DRB territory, and finally go undercover posing as a hitman.
Everything in the Human Revolution is designed from the ground up. There's something like over 1,400 props in the game. One of the visual directions I gave straight from the get-go was clutter, like loads of crap everywhere, like dangling and piled on top of one another. I wanted to have, kind of ads and billboards and stuff moving everywhere.
We created over 100 different brands, selling everything from cars to soda to jewelry.
This world feels crafted, it feels believable. The analogy was to say that on the 20th century, cars were king, and on the 21st century, augmentations are king.
There's a very strong force in the city, Seraph Industries, that feels that these augmentations will propel the city to a new birth and a new prosperity. We created a company called Picus Communications that is the global leader in news and entertainment. And we were looking for a place to put Picus, and we thought, well, Montreal, Canada is one of the best places to put it.
This is Eliza Kassan reporting to you live from Picus.
Picus' main broadcaster is Eliza Kassan. She delivered the news to the four corners of the earth. She spins the news, she has an opinion.
It is a city that is a two-tiered city. This new initiative to turn the island of Hengsha into this great center of life and a new city. And one of those companies was Tai Young Medical.
Having the Tai Young Medical kind of augmentation, it's hip. It's the kind of thing that people should want. You feel that you're in a different world.
The vision, the ambition of this game, of Deus Ex Human Revolution, have been based on that, the pillars of the game, the combat, stealth, hacking, and social.
Of course, if you're the combatant style, your reward is going to be in the tension of the combat, making things spectacular.
We wanted a tactical approach for the combat, for the action.
The player can check his tactical map, spotting all the enemies.
We wanted to make sure that the player had at the time to observe the situation. So that's why we included the cover system.
The cover system is going to protect you from the enemies, and at the same time they give you a good overview of the battlefield.
I'll usually scout an area, and I know that I can take cover there and I can draw the enemies to me that way. And I put a mine. We have the system where you can actually take a mine template thing, but you combine it with an explosive device, like a grenade, a frag grenade. So you combine it in your inventory, it becomes like a frag mine. Then when they get really close, the mine triggers by itself. They go.
You have different kind of guns, weapons, and everything.
The signature weapon is the combat rifle. I love the way that we designed the reloading. I love the way that it looks and that it fires with the silencer. It looks so dope with the silencer on top of it.
The revolver is one of the most powerful weapons we have in the game. It's a revolver, so it kicks back and people go flying. And its upgrade naturally is exploding rounds.
It's very important for the player to understand that the augmentation will support the way he wants to play, in fact.
So for instance, you're in a combat situation where the enemies are starting to get very close to you and maybe you're running out of bullets or the odds are really against you, like using your claymore and making sure that you're disabling all the enemies at once can save your life.
Because you want to be able to use those cool weapons and you want them to be quite efficient. So I'm also going to get the strength AUGs and all the anti-recoil AUGs.
Also like the X-ray, I gave it as an example for stealth, but X-ray can be also really useful for combat because you can see where the enemies are taking cover or if one is trying to flank you and you can spot him behind an object or a wall.
The core aspect of Human Revolution is you're never tied to a specific gameplay type.
You could play that game 4-10 times and you will play it differently. And you will for sure, you will want to try something new, you will discover something new.
Deus Ex Human Revolution can be played as much in combat as it can be done in stealth. One of the challenges we had was to make sure that combat and stealth would be fun to play in their own rights. For stealth, we did a lot of things to really make it compelling, to really make it like you're outsmarting the enemies, that you can be the invisible guy, the hunter looking at its prey, then taking them down.
We used two basic factors to support the stealth, You have to be out of the sight of your enemies, and you have to deal with the sound propagation.
Check your footsteps.
It's organic, it feels so natural, like I understand when I'm getting cut, I understand when I'm successful. I feel that I'm getting more out of the story.
Sometimes when you're in an enemy compound and you're sneaking around, the guards themselves are having conversations. If I go in guns blazing, they're going to disrupt those conversations. But if I'm taking the time, I'm being careful and sneaking, maybe I'll overhear them talking about something that will actually help me get in farther.
This door gotta be guarded 24/7, you hear me?
I hear you, man.
It's not like one of those scripted sequences where you go in, you open a door, and then all the enemies just go, and they place themselves into specific covers and they just wait for you to go.
They do what they have to do. They might hearing noises, be suspicious and investigate. So we really base the AI on those principles.
If you go in and you stealth, you close to one place, they're gonna go around, they're gonna flank you if they know you're there. If they don't know you're there, hey, all the better, just take down them.
For me, the augmentations are the star of the show. That's clear, you know, it's all around that.
Cloaking very important, and also I like to really boost my radar with all the different options that you can have in it. And as a stealth agent, I definitely equip Adam with most of the stealth augmentations. So I take, the X-ray, so you can, see through walls, where the enemies are positioned. You can see what direction they're looking at. You see where the security cameras are.
Other augmentations like the mark and track that really allows you to tag the enemies that you see, trackers that are going to follow them, so you'll always be able to know where they're positioned and where they're patrolling. Attachments like a silencer can be really useful, but we also have weapons like the crossbow that is totally silent.
I'll usually use a crossbow for long distance. Let's say there's like two guys, one is patrolling and one is close to me. I'll use a crossbow to take the guy furthest from me, and by the time he goes down, I'll just attack the guy that's closest to me with a stun gun.
There is a lot of stuff around stealth that make it very specific and very special to Deus Ex Human Revolution.